Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcaster with only one thing on his to-do list, which is, spoiler, helping you fall asleep. If you're a regular listener, you'd say, Scoots, are you sure you have a to-do list and not a goo list? And it'd say, well, there is coffee on my, there is sleepy stuff on my to-do list, and, everything I do has a bit of goo to it, because it keeps it slow and meandering, right? What could I possibly be talking about? Well, it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's a few ways we keep the podcast free for everybody. Holy cow, I'm really excited to talk about our new sponsor, Grove Collaborative. I'm really excited. I don't know if you can hear it, because you're going to love shopping with Grove. This isn't like this is a sales pitch, but this part isn't. Holy moly. But let me tell you about Grove first, right? Most of us are looking for natural products to use in our home, and Grove, not only do they take the homework out of that, they add in flexibility, high quality, and fun. And on top of that, they have amazing customer service. Grove Collaborative is the online marketplace that delivers all natural home, beauty, and personal care products directly to you. They also have pet products, right, Koa? Grove takes the guesswork out of going green. Every Grove.co product is guaranteed to be good for you, your family, your home, and the planet. So you could save your time and not have to read those confusing labels. And like I said, the ordering process is fun and exciting. They have glass spray bottles with all natural cleaning concentrate, not a lot of packaging. And they have that amazing, you've probably seen it on Instagram or your Facebook feed, that amazing automatic glass laundry detergent dispenser. So it's natural. It cuts down on waste. But here's the thing. When my Grove box came, I opened it up and it smelled so good. Lavender, orange, rosemary, peppermint. That's also the products I got. But with Grove, you don't have to go to multiple stores or search endlessly online to get all the natural goods you need for you and your family. They make it easy. It's one of those curated experiences where I feel like Grove is helping me discover new things that are good for my home. So join over 500,000 families who trust Grove Collaborative to make their homes happier and healthier. Plus, shipping is fast and free on your first order. Holy cow, was it fast. And the order smelled so good. For a limited time, when my listeners go to grove.co/sleep, you will get a free 5-piece cleaning set from Miss Meyer and Grove. That's a $30 value. Go to grove.co/sleep to get this exclusive cleaning offer. That's grove.co. Don't forget that's .co/sleep. And let me know what you order. Holy cow, send me some pictures of this. I'm really, really excited. This is one of those sponsors. I'm going to be shopping at Grove for the long term, and I hope you would join me. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the part of the show I really need you to hear, because this is where I thank the people that supported the sponsors, and that's what helps us keep the podcast free for everybody, not behind a paywall. You can find out all of our sponsors at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. When you check them out, let me know about it. You could be like Wayne. Now, Wayne got this amazing all-black Quip toothbrush. So Quip, if you're listening, please send me one of these things because it is so cool looking. And then he got his first refill pack for free. And I want to thank Molly, who signed up for Mint Mobile, saved a ton of money on her wireless bill. Ian gets that high-speed data, everything you need, and without overpaying. And if you want to find out more about our sponsors, be like Wayne, be like Molly. Thank you both. Let me know about it. sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, and then let me know. And this is the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Molly. Oh, Mystery Bart. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bart. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their answers. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance to be part of Nine Vale Presents. So now on with the show.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you could find me. Thank you, everyone who has been sharing about the podcast in person, in your Instagram stories, sharing on Spotify and stuff like that, sharing on Twitter and Facebook, email lists, blogs. Thank you so much for just being honest about your experience with the podcast. It really does help a lot of other people find the show and get some sleep. So you really are helping other people, and I appreciate it so much. So thank you. And what do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts you're thinking about, feelings, any emotions coming up, or, like tendrils of those, left over from the day or from the past, present, or future. Physical sensations, you might be dealing with something, or it could be any kind of changes, schedule changes, personal changes, the stuff. Again, I'm always trying to make sure you feel included and you're welcome here without being too descriptive. But whatever's keeping you whatever's keeping you alike, what we're all like with, thanks mispronouncing brain, is whatever's keeping you awake. I'd like to take your mind off of that and keep you company as you drift off. What I propose is I have a safe place set aside here. I'm trying to clear it out and space it up and cozy it in and invite you via rapport. Is there a podcast called The Rapport Report? I just a question that popped in my brain. Maybe I don't know if I could make that because I'm not exactly good at establishing rapport, but that's what I attempt to do at the beginning of the podcast. I don't know if I'll come back to that, but it just sounds barely interesting. The Rapport Report, the only podcast, rapport notes, that would be like script notes, but about rapport. Craig and John have good rapport. I rapport via I offer rapport via bore. There we go, even got a cheap rhyme in there. But what was I going to say? I'm going to create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use these lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. Creaky and dulcet, two things that don't normally go together. And at first glance, you might say, oh, boy, I'm not sure about this podcast. And I'd say, well, give it a few tries, kind of see how it goes. What I'm going to do is, I already said this, send my voice, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents, confusion. Here's another rhyme I don't think I've ever used, a profusion of confusion. That's what this podcast comes with. You say, give us another round of confusion, Scoots. I'd say it's on the house. Believe me, it always is. That was I'm thinking about if I had an album. It would be called Profusion of Confusion. It says, like anything like Master of Puppets? And I'd say, well, I don't know because I'm confused. There's so many, but so Profusion of Confusion. I'm so confused I don't even know what I'm talking about, except that my job isn't really to know where I'm going, but to be here with you. Was that a rapport level move there from the Rapport Report? We have a profusion of confusion in Scoots' reporting on rapport, or the Rapport Report. I don't know if you could tell, but I had my hand to my ear like I was a radio reporter on location. Imaginary ones. That's what imaginary ones do. So if you're new, this podcast's a little bit different. If you probably figured that out already. And this is you don't, when you first listen, right, I shouldn't have doned you. I apologize for that. Kind of see how it goes. Listen to the podcast gently or loosely or barely pay attention because I'm barely going to make any sense. And it's okay if it doesn't work for you, but give it a few tries at first. Because, yeah, it's not for everybody. I can see it in the, I can see it when I hear from the people that don't enjoy the podcast. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't like it. But kind of see if you say, well, you don't need to like it or not like it at all. What if you were kind of like, that's what most listeners, they say, old Scoots, don't pay him any mind. You know who says that? The Nana that lives in my brain. My internal, do you have an internal Nana? If you don't trust me, kids, don't get one. You don't need to go out and get one if you don't have one already. You say, this is one of those things you don't need FOMO of. You say, what's the opposite of FOMO? A total sense of relief that I don't have an internal Nana like Scoots does. I'm just kidding, Nana. Not really, but she has selective hearing. She only hears me when she says she wants to point out some places where I'm not measuring up. Please don't point down there, Nana. Not in front of the podcast listeners. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, don't really pay me any mind. You don't need to listen to me if you're new. I'm just here to take your mind off of stuff and meander around to keep you company as you drift off. So no need to listen. Here's a weird thing, though. No pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here for about an hour to keep you company as you drift off. So you fall asleep, you don't hopefully you're just listening along and you're saying, I guess it is good. I don't have I have a lot of internal things going on, but I don't have any internal Nana. Thank goodness. Or if you do have an internal Nana, now you say, well, but now I feel a little bit less alone, Scoots, thanks. And it's, it was one thing, there's some part of my brain just said, that's one of the things that unites a lot of humanity. I never knew it was called an internal Nana. And you say, what a positive way to treat your internal Nana? Put a shawl around her. This is an internal Nana empowerment moment. This is a report. We're here live with Scooter, trying to reestablish rapport with his internal Nana. And Scooter's just invented a new move. He hasn't thought of a fancy name for it, but it's putting a shawl on your internal Nana. And he's going, there you go, Nana. Isn't that nice? Yeah, isn't that nice? Yes, nice and cozy. It's a very nice shawl you have, too. Okay, tuck it in there. No problem. Okay, I'll come back and adjust it whenever you want. I just got to get back to these new listeners. But you know what, Nana? Even though I just walked away, part of me wants to say, my, what a lovely shawl you have. Well, I'm glad I put a smile. That's the first smile I've ever seen on the face of my internal Nana. So this actually worked. I just shawled her. Can you use shawl as a verb? Because I just did, and I think you could. This could be a book. It would be maybe more of a pamphlet. You're right. Shawled. The way I can't just do. That's what we'll say. That's what I'll say at the end of the episode of the report. I'll say that was shawled, man. I just shawled my Nana. And they'd say, well, that doesn't, and they say, no, it's placing a shawl gently on her shoulders and then complimenting her on it. It's a very positive thing. It was probably one of the pivotal moments in my life. So that's my shawling of my Nana. The shawling of my Nana. That sounds like a chapter in it. But anyway, so where was I? Oh, you don't need to listen to me. No pressure to fall asleep. I'm here to keep you company as you drift off. No pressure to like a podcast. But I do make this show because I truly believe you deserve a good night's sleep. That's why I'm here, is to help. And now, a couple other things if you're new. Structurally, what to expect. Here's the structure of the podcast, which is a little late. You're right, 8, 9, 10 minutes in. But you did just get to be a part of a live imaginary shawling. And I mean, holy cow, I'm not even kidding. Webster's and what is that other one called? The dictionary companies are on hold now. One of them just said, stop the presses. We've got don't print the next unabridged dictionary until you add verbiage to shawl in the unabridged dictionary. Oh, now they're saying they don't have the budget to do that. It's fine. And then they said, we just Googled it in another dictionary, and it said, well, I don't want to know about it then. Oh, where was I? So structurally, what to expect. Structure of the show starts off with a few minutes of business. That's how we're able to keep the podcast free for everybody and not behind a pesky paywall. Then we have intro, which intros around 12 to 15 minutes of me rambling and trying to explain what the podcast is, then going off topic and talking about stuff like my lovely internal Nana with her beautiful shawl and, complimenting her. And then a lot of people will listen to the intro if you're new. And you might say, when are you going to get to the point? And the regular listeners are chuckling because you say, well, that's kind of the point is I don't get to the point very quickly. And so the intro is it's a wind down. It allows you to get ready for bed, to ease you into bedtime, maybe to fall asleep. Maybe you could skip it once you start becoming a regular listener. You can kind of see how it goes, but it's kind of made to help you. You start it maybe before you get in bed, when you're getting ready for bed, part of your bedtime routine. But you don't have to listen. But pretty much like a lot of feedback I get from regular listeners is that the intro is an important part of the show, or they like to skip it and just listen to the stories. But there's no wrong way to listen. So there's an intro. Then there's some business between the intro and the show. That's how podcast structure works. It's just like a preferred spot for the support to be there. And then there's an episode. Tonight it'll be another adventure of Dr. Triangle and Isosceles. And that's a episodic series. So I'll fill you in on all the details if you've never heard it before. You don't need to, I'll catch you up. Don't worry if this is your first time. You haven't missed it. Believe me, you haven't missed anything. If you have, you probably slept through it. So that's the series. Then the show ends with some thank yous and good nights. So that's the structure show. And here's the thing. When I say I'm glad you're here, I mean it. I've been there tossing and turning in the deep, dark night. Not only do I believe you deserve a good night's sleep, I desire it because I know then you could live your life. You could be out there flourishing in the world. The world and your family and the people in your life, they need you and you deserve it. So if the podcast can help you, it's my honor. I do work very hard and I strive to help you fall asleep, but I also really appreciate you coming by and checking the show out. And here's a couple of ways we're able to keep this podcast free for everybody. All right, everybody, I'm really excited to talk about our new sponsor, Whoop. We're always looking for ways to improve our overall health and fitness. And of course, sleep is a gigantic part of that. We all know that, you're listening to Sleep with me. So you really understand how sleep impacts your day-to-day life. So Whoop is a fitness tracker. I've been using it for about a month now. And it lets you monitor your sleep performance. You could see how recovered your body is for the next day. When it comes to sleep, Whoop is on the next level. I've tried a lot of different sleep and fitness trackers, and I'm telling you, this is the one. Holy moly. It not only monitors stages of sleep, it monitors your sleep cycles, your sleep efficiency. It also tells you how much sleep you're going to need based on how strenuous your day was. I've just been blown away because Whoop offers you the data and then you can act on it. It really has helped me remind me, oh, wait a second, I got to extend my wind down routine and spend a little bit, go to bed a little bit earlier. Also, it gives you time to check in about your sleep every day. And it really has helped. I've stopped reading in bed, and this is the first time I'm actually following that sleep hygiene advice to just use your bed for sleep. And it'll really give you a good idea when you should start sleep with me. It just really, it offers so much more in-depth sleep data that you can use to better improve your nighttime routine. Get more rest, live a fuller life. I mean, that's what we're all about. So if you're looking to be smarter about how you sleep, how you recover, and how you train so you can be at your best, you have to get your Whoop. I'm wearing it right now as a recorder here. And for my listeners, Whoop is offering 15% off when you use the code SLEEP at checkout. So go to whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. So that's whoop.com and use the promo code SLEEP at checkout to save 15% off your order. It really will help you unlock your sleep and unlock your best self today. Thanks, Whoop. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of our episodically modular series, The Adventures of Dr. Triangle and Isosceles. Now, if this is your first episode, don't worry. Or if you said, well, Scoots, it says it's episode 8, but I only listened to episode 2. Oh, don't worry. I'll catch you right up. You're in a safe place, remember? Even when it comes to serial, like barely serialized stories. Let me put your serialized concerns at ease. Because that's my job. So I'm going to give you all the information you need to know. The Adventures of Dr. Triangle and Isosceles. I'm laughing because I'm like, features two main characters, Dr. Triangle and Isosceles, as well as a third character, their mule, Ada, who also serves as the narrator for the story. Thank you, Ada, because you're doing not only are you doing the heavy lifting, you're doing the heavy lifting. You're doing it all. But this story is, so Dr. Triangle and Isosceles are heroic figures, the main characters, mainly that's their, well, let me tell you about the world they live in, because, so they live in a world without math, a world once pretty much like ours, not that long ago. Their world they probably could have lived in our world. It was the same. But then at first, I don't know if I've covered this, anti-math sentiment started to grow. And also, probably at the same time, maybe less obviously, people's belief in math started to wane, their appreciation of it. And as that happened, sometimes we think stuff, most of the time we just think, oh, it's just our human, we're just humans being human, disregarding math. But oh no, because this is a story. There was another ominous force at work, a goddess named Discordia, who had come to Earth or was expressing her, goddess-like influence over Earth to rid the world of math, probably to cause something like discordia. And she was successful, not successful in ridding 100% of the world from 100% of the math, because obviously that would take, they didn't even mean to pun that, but it'd be like, that's a lot of math. But what she did do is significantly set back technology and all that stuff, because a lot of that relies on math. Our way of life was significantly changed. And you could compare life at the current stage here to the Middle Ages. They didn't have wagons in the Middle Ages, some part of my brain just told me. In the fictional Middle Ages, wagons, wells, we need, okay, well, this is, so that's the world. This does take place in what once was the United States of America. Now a collection of holdfast city-states, affiliated areas and things. And so that's the world. Oh boy, I'm not talk about sleepy. Dr. Triangle and Isosceles in that world were performers. They were traveling performers. They made parody plays about math, and, they were particularly making light of people who loved math. And they kind of made a career capitalizing on anti-math sentiment, though they may have not been truly believers in anti-math. They did spend a lot of time making fun of math. That's why they have those names, Dr. Triangle and Isosceles. But then they met another goddess. Another goddess, of course, wanted to keep the world in balance, had a soft spot for math, Sashat. She needed two heroic figures. Let's not question Sashat's judgment because she is a goddess. But she chose Dr. Triangle and Isosceles to restore math principles wherever they could to the world. And so episodically, or what is that other one called? Procedurally, what Dr. Triangle and Isosceles do is they go to an area, they observe the area, they try to figure out what principle of math is missing, and they try to restore that principle. Because usually it's a principle that gets in the way of people living their lives or progressing. They say, well, dude, let's get some of this. At some point, we got to get screen time back. Holy mackerel. Am I right? If any kids are listening, they're saying right for sure. So Dr. Triangle and Isosceles are traveling what was former United States. So a lot of time they're spending in the Midwest or the far, West, trying to restore math. I think that's pretty much it. Two traveling performers trying to save math one town at a time, even though they don't call them towns anymore. Maybe. In a world without math. And also we have a Hollywood, a celebrity, a man who just had a film fest, and holy handsome. I saw a picture of you. I mean, you're handsome now, but this was a picture of you when you were younger, different kind of handsome. And congratulations. Ready to introduce our show is Mr. Antonio Banderas. Thank you, Scooter. That's very kind. The ladies, the gentlemen, the boys, the girls, the friends beyond the binary. It's time in a world without math. Two heroes or heroic figures. So thank you, Scooter. Two heroic figures must stand for math, one town at a time. Welcome to the adventures of Dr. Triangle and Isosceles. Wow, that was whatever the positive version of the HUANTING, that was holy cow. That's Mr. Antonio Banderas, who's going to be laying in my bed. You could actually, believe it or not, I have a little present for you, Antonio. I have a game of Color Q, whatever it is, set up for you to play while you listen to me record the podcast. It's long. Oh, I didn't think about this, though, because it just like maybe you should just mentally play it, though, because moving the wooden pieces might make a clicking. So maybe it's just for you to contemplate, or I guess you could play it. You could see how silent you could be. Thank you, Mr. Antonio Banderas. This is Dr. Triangle and Isosceles, The Adventures of. Thanks, Scooter. This is Ada here, your trusty narrator, and beast of burden. And my burden doesn't feel so heavy, but it feels important, and that's telling you about what's happening. I don't know when you last heard from us, but we were swept away by Isosceles' sister, and in a mystery, we were unaware that where we were going and where we were swept away to. And it was a long but comfortable journey. We did so no worries there. Holy cow, they love mules. They know how to treat a mule. I could tell you that. So Ada had plenty of water and room to roam. And I knew where we were going because we crossed a vast desert, what some would call a land of waste, but really it's not if you know anything about the desert biome. But to the human eye, but a land without a lot of water, without a lot of food. We traveled across that land to a desert oasis, a town that doesn't really exist in your world, a confluence of places, a giant underground aquifer, but way out in the middle of the desert, way, way out. an aquifer, excuse me, Ada's mispronouncing words, an aquifer that could have refreshing water for the people in the area, for the animals that lived in the small groves of bushes and trees, that they could come to drink water and continue the circle of life with them and the humans in the town, as the humans had learned to manage that, enough for a small amount of crops to sustain a small town. This was an oasis with a village nearby. A pretty nice place compared to the land surrounding it. And that's where our two heroes have woken up, and they've been, strolling the town, taking it in, and getting a lay of the land. I'll turn it over to they're strolling. Okay, so I guess this is pretty nice. They seem to have. As long as they keep things in balance, they don't overdo it. The people here, this is like a desert paradise. They have everything. This is really, really a great place. Right, but so my sister just left us here. No. Are you going to open the letter she left? You don't have to read it near me. I'm sure the letter explains everything. But I'd love to hear it if you would read it. Well, I'm just trying to figure out. So she brought us here, and then she left. We've been asking, and everyone's really nice here. You're right about that. I think it's just because it's almost like fresh water. I don't know. You're right. It is a pretty nice place, and everybody seems really relaxed. Everyone, though, looks like they're hard workers. I don't know if that's just me, but taking a guess. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's your subconscious, but can you open? Okay, so this is a letter from my sister to me. It says Isosceles on the cover, but on the envelope, but I guess that's kind of a joke. Okay, do you want to read it word for word? Do you really think so? Let me see. Blankety blank. Can't believe you'd align yourself. So funny to see you as attempting to help lead a charismatic movement. Surprised you weren't the one in the lead. You might not understand how this can't get a lot of stuff about me not getting it. Not understanding what the force is really at work, and good versus not good. It may have chosen the wrong side of math, but I could be. So she's placed us here for safekeeping, because sounds like she's going to go out there and save math. I don't know if she's working for. It doesn't say anything about Sashad in here though. Wait, where does it say that? I don't see anything about it. She says, I'm going to make things right. Don't bother trying to find me. You won't be able to get out of the oasis. P.S. Why would you want to? Oh, I see there she called us a couple of babies. Yeah, that's not like when that podcaster calls each other a sweet baby. It's not like that. It's not a compliment. Okay, well, the one thing we have to go on is that people said she had a wagon pulled by camels, and that she headed out that direction. We've been walking to the end of town. We might as well just keep following the camel tracks, at least for a little while, and see where they go. Yeah, we should have brought some water, though. Well, I'm not thinking we'll follow them all the way. Let's just follow them for a distance. We'll keep our eye. We're not going to walk too far out of town. I wonder what was here before, though, because it's interesting to be out here in the desert with the swirling winds and the heat, and they live underground, and those are concrete. I wish I knew about this place. I would have just, if I could figure out how to get all of my entertainment and adult beverages out here. I could live out here, but I'd probably have to share everything instead of living in, if I was going to live by myself. Yeah, there's a lot of I don't know, there's like old train engines all lining the edges of town. And these camel tracks keep going here, heading out towards the edge. But yeah, I don't know what was here first. I mean, I think it's cool that they live in those concrete. I mean, they don't seem to like it that much, but I guess, you stay cool below the earth. And, then they have the tents on top for whatever the daytime or, I mean, you think who was out here, like back when it was the United States, you think that it was like some sort of, I don't know, it seems to have just served some purpose. I mean, I cannot remember, I mean, maybe I wasn't aware of a giant desert aquifer, but it would seem like there would have been more development around here, that would so it must have been privatized or, because otherwise it'd be houses in, at least the remains of a golf course, unless it's all under the sand here. Speaking of under the sand, the camel tracks stop right up here. What do you mean they stop right up here? They stop. There's the end of they just stop. There's no more tracks after this. I mean, that's strange because the dust is filling in, but it's not, it wouldn't have filled in that side. It's like they just disappear. Well, do you think she got picked up by like a plane or something? I doubt it because I haven't seen any planes in like 25 years, at least, or give or take. I can't remember the last time I saw a plane or anything flying. What about remember that Lord of the Rings? What about like a big bird? Okay, have you seen anyone fly? I mean, I'm not trying. Have you seen anyone flying? And it could. I mean, it's possible. But I kind of think it's hot though. It's hot out here. What's this under the sand though? There's train tracks. That's what all these paths are. Oh, so there's a train track leading into town, just buried under the sand, and leading out of town. Yeah, we could try to brush off the sand off the train tracks. So what are you thinking? Could we build our own train, like one of those cartoon push up and down train cars? I mean, we could. I don't know. I mean, we could probably see what we could put together. We could see. I mean, I don't know. Why wouldn't we just stay in this? What's the hurry of getting out of here? If your sister said she's going to take care of stuff, and we have everything we need here, and she said to stay here, and she seems like an actual, leader. I mean, she had all those people with her. Logistically, she has a team. Maybe Sashad already knows about it. I mean, even though she didn't mention Sashad, so I don't know if she has, her own charms. I mean, I'm not too worried. I'm just worried about, if she got out of here, we should get out of here. What was it? You were, didn't you have some conversations with people? Yeah, every time I asked, how far is the desert? They said, too far to walk. And then I said, how far was Ada in a wagon? And they said, you'll never bring enough you'll never be able to carry enough water for the three of you. And I said, well, how far is it? How much water would we need? And everyone said, no idea. Even though they have those, they have those towers with telescopes. I don't know, maybe that's for watching the stars? Yeah, but my sister made it out of here. So we just got to figure out. I mean, there's a lot of camel tracks. Excuse me, did you see a wagon drawn by camels? Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I'm Isosceles. Yeah, new to town for sure. No, I haven't. So you swim in the you can swim in the aquifer. Oh, because it's so deep and the water's churning up from the spring below or something. Oh, you boil your water. Well, yeah, I hadn't thought about swimming in the aquifer. Thanks for letting me know, because I had cupped my hands and drank out of it. No, I was saying, did you see a bunch of camels pulling away? Oh, you did? lot of camel. How many camels were pulling the wagon? No idea. Was it like 1, 2? How many people? You don't know. Okay, well, okay, I'll see you later. Thank you. Okay, well, they don't seem to, they don't seem to care, but we're going to get out of here. I'll work on, like, what we could do is, if we just load up, if we make one of those there's enough train parts. This must be some old abandoned train depot or something. We could make a working train. I don't know if we have time to do that, but we could do one of the ones where you're pumping the train. And we could have Ada pulling at times. So then we take breaks and we'll just bring enough water to cover that. Or we could have like Ada following with pulling the water. Yeah, but we don't even know how far out of town. Like, we don't know if it's 1 day or 5 days. Well, we could estimate that with what data? Like, I don't even have any idea how to measure how fast we'd be going. And then we'd have to figure out how much water. You know what I mean? I don't think you're being reasonable, Isosceles. Oh, so you're just going to so that's it. You got what you wanted. Look, we're just going to stay here. I guess it worked out great for you, huh, Triangle? Well, no, for both of us. So your sister didn't say she'll never be back. She just kind of was diminutive and didn't realize that we were also trying to be heroic. But she sounds like heroic, you know what I mean? And so why don't we just wait and see? I thought you had a more analytical mind, but don't worry about it. I'll work on, I'm going to work on getting out of here. You just do it. Why don't you just why don't you go swim in the aquifer? Go take a swim in an aquifer. That's what I meant to say. Okay, well, I'm just going to take a walk, and I'll see you later as I walk. Now, the thing I didn't tell Maida, thanks for walking to my side, by the way. Ooh, that was, I mean, what do you think? Would you stay here? I mean, there's plenty of water. Did you just shrug? The thing I wasn't telling Isosceles was there's also a letter from me from his sister. And I sense that, the frustration, but if we wait here, it's not just selfishness, so it's driven by that. It is that we have the charms, and if we try to leave with the charms, and if we only leave halfway, then the charms will be in the desert somewhere. I'm going to we go up at this telescope thing and look around, though. Maybe, I don't know why I didn't think of it. Maybe I could, okay, climbing up. Don't worry, Ada, I'll talk loud enough for you to hear me down there. Now open up this letter. Oh, dear Dr. Triangle, take care of my brother. I'm confident that you and he, in your stubbornness and selfishness, will find a way out of town. More important than that is to keep the water. Oh, keep the water safe until my return. Watch out for Discordian forces through the telescope. Sure, my brother's pacing back and forth, wanting to leave now. But there's some force at work here. We're only able to cross by 2 ways, by 2 means. Her handwriting's messy. We come with a set number of camels and a set number of tanks that we just fill up. For some reason, due to Discordian power, we're unable to figure any of that out when we're here. And by figure it out, even now I'm getting confused, but basically how much water and how many camels we need to get out. But we also don't cross by land. If you keep looking where our tracks disappear, you'll be able to figure it out. But don't just head out there. You'll have to figure out some way. You'll have to get some things working. and you'll need the town's help, and the town will need your help. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Ada, I was just reading and thinking. I looked through the telescopes. There's nothing in any direction. I can just see some green, but it's really far away. And I don't even know if it's so probably too far to walk to. Yeah, no, off to that direction. I don't know if that's north, south, east, or west, Ada. So, oh, sorry, you're looking at me expectantly. You really are the best mule. You're a mule, right? I'm just kidding. I mean, so this letter from Isosceles' sister says, basically there's some mystery in this town, something to do with the water and the townspeople's help. I think it has to do with all these train engines, all this steam, but I'm going to go get Isosceles. We're going to go to the edge of town. And why don't you go get some water? Don't swim in the, keep the pee out of the pool. You know what I mean, Ada? And I'll see you in a bit. Hey, this is Ada here. So Dr. Triangle and Isosceles eventually got to the edge of town, and they started digging at the edge of the camel tracks. And they found a giant platform that sprung up and led underground to a huge, huge tunnel full of pipes. A tunnel that kind of felt humid. And on one end, it had one of those giant doors you kind of see under the water with the spinny thing. And they knocked on it, and it was sweaty with water. And Dr. Triangle said, this is some sort of underground aqueduct. It's closed off right now. And then they saw that the camel tracks joined up with the train track underground at the bottom of this aquifer or whatever, and headed off in a distance. But there was not a note, but a sign written on a rock that said, don't follow without power. And then we started to notice that the water, the giant door with the water had the pipes coming off to it, some for water and some that were hollow. And then Dr. Triangle and Isosceles started to figure out that the trains in town, the engines, they were all interconnected. The steam, they weren't really train engines necessarily anymore. They were, creators of steam. And then instead of the steam driving the wheels to drive the trains forward, most of them went into these pipes, went into another underground area, separate but close to the aquifer. And we started asking around town and eventually realized that most of the people here at one point in their lives or another, anyone that had been around before the end of math, they were experts in steam and trains, but they didn't care anymore. The more we asked, they said, oh, don't bother. We asked, well, how have you ever gotten any of these working? No. Where do these go? We don't know. Why bother was the main answer. We have everything we need here. And then we found great stores of coal underneath the earth. Huge development underground. Very, very, very well made and built to last centuries probably. And other steam, we found a lot of steam engines. We started to realize that not only were the steam, they were not only to drive and pump water, but to provide steam heading out of town. We found even a small train that we could use if we could get it going to put on the tracks and head out of town like a two-person train. Things don't get publicized like that. And in another underground area, we even found what could only be described as great boilers for concentrating steam somewhere. Even solar boilers. A lot of technology we found. But the point was no one cared, and Dr. Triangle and Isosceles don't know. When, they started trying to tinker and steam, and it didn't seem fruitful. So they started begging the town for help, but no one cared again. And Dr. Triangle was going up and checking around every day with the telescopes, since that's what the letter said. And then one day, Dr. Triangle came down and asked if anybody had been to the one green patch far, far away, but, be able to see through the telescope. This was a big telescope, by the way. It said there's an army gathering there, just flying the flag of Discordia, or, random tattered flags that, are discordant. Which leads me, they have a Pleiad and a Paisley flag with neons and browns and pea greens. So that's a Discordian flag if I ever heard of one. And they're gathering there on that green thing. Can see the campfires, at night, and still the people in town didn't care. And they said, of course, they'd want to get this for Discordia, water, steam stuff, who knows what else. They're going to come, but still everybody kind of just lied around town lackadaisically. And so let's go to this brainstorming session. Dr. Triangle and Isosceles are actually trying to brainstorm. Okay, let me cut to them. Dr. Triangle, I was wrong. You're right. We get I don't know how we're going to get these people motivated, but I think it needs to be through the theater. Well, I mean, nothing else has motivated them. But what do you think about what theater are you talking about? Steampunk stuff. What if we show them how good they're like a world of steam? Remember Steampipe Alley? Yeah, that didn't have to do with being a steampunk. That was a TV show for kids. Yeah, Mario Cantone. What if we took that and took it and mashed it up with steampunk into a play, like a Victorian London meets the Middle Ages or something. I don't know how to describe it. So just do a play about how great it is to be a steampunk is what you're saying. Yeah, maybe like make the old. I could do it. I could play the steampunk, without a puff or something. A little rebel without a cause. Okay, so you're saying glamorize being a steampunk and a connoisseur of steampunk lifestyle. Yeah, I'll do a play about that. I'll really ham it up, but also, just like my sister did, just make it seem impossible for these people to attain. But maybe that's where those things are going, too. One other thing I noticed was that the town's defenses are, the town has a defensive system. It's all steam-based. What do you mean? Like a lot of the pipes going from a couple of the train engines, they go to things to shoot high-powered water jets. There's a couple steam-launch trebuchets. And a bunch of things to propel things that would definitely probably outmatch Discordia. Okay, so this isn't a problem of math, it's a problem of motivation. I'll just do a great steampunk presentation. Great show. Kind of blow everybody's mind. Okay, so what are you going to do? Like a music, because we've used the music, that one. Trouble in River City, I think we've done that twice already. Okay, so we won't do that. I think Rebel Without a Steam. I don't know. What about a steampunk in Victorian London? That's the name of one of those books. What about a Victorian steampunk in a desert oasis? Okay, tell me more. Holy blue sky. What if you, okay, so you dress as a steampunk. You're cool. You play it however you want. Dean Brando. Who was that? You play Gosling. I don't know. However you want to go. Okay. I was thinking more of Aquafina feel, but go ahead anyway. Okay, so play like that, and then you've arrived here. This has happened before, and then you say, "Where's my?" You point out all of the deficiencies, so you might have to. It might have to be like a walking real life play, where you don't break character for days, and you just keep incessantly pointing out all the things that are all the modern conveniences of Victorian steam that are missing from the town. Keep planting those seeds. Also, I'll keep pointing out that we could easily keep the Discordians at bay. But, I mean, so it's kind of like they have everything they want, but they could have more. That might just motivate them. And just go ahead, be like, oh, how do how do you blow cool air? Your air is cool down here, but it doesn't move, so stuffy. I'd do anything for a Victorian steam fan. And they'd say, well, we don't want, whatever. That's how they all talk around here. Well, why don't you just go for a walk? Oh, well, you have a steam engine here. It's just too bad. Okay, I got it. I can do that. Okay, great. Why don't you go work on your wardrobe, and I'll keep an eye on the edge of town. Hey, everybody, Ada's here. I'm Ada. I'm back to talk to you once again. And so Isosceles did become a Victorian steampunk and oasis town and made the play. And like some great art, was both inspirant and an irritant at the same time. And people in the town did start to tinker at the steam engines, especially the people whose nostalgia was reawakened by they said, well, I don't understand how you'd make toast with steam. Philobotomo or whatever. I forgot what name Dr. Triangle's or Isosceles has been going by. Because I have to tune it out. Because for me, it's not an inspirant. But they said, well, this is how you make a toast with steam. But the idea of having things even better than a perfect desert oasis it started to get on people. And then some people that were more family-oriented or community-oriented started to think about, as Isosceles pointed out, the defenses of the town. Well, why wouldn't we put these to use so easy if it was steam-powered? And we have everything. And soon hubbub started to grow in town. And people started to ask, well, I don't know how to, ratchet these bolts. And people started to work and tinker and refurbish and polish and oil and grease and tighten and, hammer and all those things. It was a flurry of activity. And there was actually people that were qualified to supervise. And so they were saying, okay, well, we're going to start our first soft test launch on this day. And finally the day came when they would do their first small boil, they called it, their first steam. And the more activity in the town, the more activity there was out at the edge of the desert. And Isosceles and Dr. Triangle were even watching. But the desert didn't seem... Discordia's team didn't seem to be able to manage crossing the desert to them either. And so a whole back and forth went, and then it was time for the first steam, and everyone gathered. It didn't go well. I mean, I'll just be honest with you since I'm the narrator. They were unable to to wrap their minds around it, despite everyone being there, despite everyone working together, the right balance of coal, heat, and water. And even for something simple and a simpler steam engine, they just weren't able to do it. They could boil water, but they couldn't boil water in the right balance. It was either too much water, too little water, too much steam, too little steam, too much coal, too much wood, or not enough, to even do basic tasks. And then the idea of storing the steam and then releasing it. And everyone became very, very unhappy and, frustrated. And so they, Dr. Triangle and Isosceles, the rest of the town was hung their heads, but they looked at one another. And okay, so don't worry, everybody. We're going to work on this for the love of steam. That was the catchline for my character. And that's what we're doing. So Triangle, walk with me. This is not a motivation problem. It's a math problem. Yeah, it's a math problem. Okay, so what if we'll just restore the math, and we'll be all set. Well, I've been thinking about that because I realized it was a math problem a while ago, but I was hoping it was I didn't realize the breadth of its impact. What do you mean you realized it was a math problem a while ago? Well, I thought it was traversing the desert in distance that was the math problem. But it is that overlaid on what we need to calculate. It's hard for me to process without the actual principle. But so, yeah, it's a math principle it's missing. And with the math principle, we'll be able to restore steam to this town, and we'll be able to get out of here. Right, but so that's what's keeping Discordia's people at bay. But that's what's keeping Discordia's people at bay. No, they're just waiting for something. Or maybe they think we have steam and can hold them off. Nah, at this point they have sheer numbers. So I don't think... So as soon as we solve the math, that they'll just come and take the water in the town. And even if we get out of here, then they'll control the steam and the water. Okay, well... we could get everybody out of the town, I guess, with us. No, I didn't tell you this, but your sister sent me a letter too. And she said, and I would have probably suspected it anyway, that this isn't some simple aquifer. There's some sort of, this is here for some kind of reason. I mean, even if it's just to restore water to nearby cities and power cities with steam. But I gotta think that Discordia is not gathered for me and you, which, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought they were going to come get us. No, they're here to get the town and the water. And they probably even knew what we were doing, and now they've put us in this dilemma. Okay. So what do we do? I think you're wrong, though. I'll be honest. I think this town, I think there's enough to remember that movie On the Road or whatever with that they were able to hold the town. That wasn't the name of that movie, but, I don't know. I mean, if we restore the steam, and we'd have to have everybody ready. Okay, but you know the math principle? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a conversion thing. Because it's like trying to watch, because if you try to watch some of those, the gauges, no, I've been confused. Okay, here's a question for you. What if we go get that mini steam engine? Well, actually, everybody went back home. So, look, it's just sitting there in the middle of town by itself. There's even a warm fire. what if we restore the math principle here and we don't do, then maybe it buys us enough time to to get ready for Discordia either way, or we just don't tell Discordia. That's an interesting idea because they have been testing the, okay, like, so we could restore the principle without them knowing about it if we don't do it, obviously. Okay, I'm going to get the steam engine ready. You restore the math. Do you have a charm in mind? Yeah, I have one that looks like a tea kettle. What do you have? I have one that looks like a bit of a furnace. Okay. Discord, Shot, we call upon you to restore the principle of ratio rates and conversion. Oh, wait a second. We already asked. It's too late, because we already we did that in another town. Doesn't mean it can't be missing in two places. Ratio rates and conversions, Shot, I already asked. Yeah, that's not good because, okay, so what do you think? Yeah, that giant train over there, it's turning into a giant steam woman. It's a steam gal, I think that's what it says on that's the name of the train. Oh, boy. She has a top hat. She's got to be like 30 feet high. What is she doing? Well, she's just standing over us. I think she's building up steam. Okay, so at least we have some time. What are we going to do now? Well, here's the thing. They're going to be able to see that probably out there. So that's not good. Also, we have a giant, I think she's more like 70 feet tall, steam woman, steam gal. And once she builds up enough steam, then, like, luckily she didn't come pre-stoked because, but she'll probably, either way, that we're in trouble and the town's in trouble and we don't really have a way to get out of here still. Okay. Oh, she's looking at, hi, steam gal. I think she just made a choo-choo, tried to make a choo-choo sound, but she doesn't have enough steam. Okay, here's an idea, because you did such a good job as with that Victorian play. What if you do a play for Steam Gal? I figured out the principle, so I knew it was one or two math principles, so I know what the math principle is. I'm not going to mention it right now. But what if you do a play with Steam Gal? See, everybody in the town's coming together, like talking about how these are all other steam-based beings. We're all steam caretakers of the steam. And who knows what this great, if we get all the steam running in this town, what it'll even do. Other than help distribute this, it seems like endless aquifer to other places that might need water. But teach, what if you do a play while Steam Gal's getting her, the thing built up, kind of, it's like she just came into this world. Maybe that's one of these things with these bosses we've been dealing with. Since she's not instantly against us, you win her over. Then win her over, show how much, I realize you're going to object, so I'm going to finish what I'm saying is, win her over, show her how we care and tinker for steam. Then, and how we got to defend ourselves against takers of the steam. Make sure to put that in the performance, okay? Takers of the steam, got it. But that was the bureaucrats in the Victorian era for me, for the other play. Okay, whatever it is, that's fine. But show her that we care for steam, because then we restore the math principle. She'll, hopefully we could, repair her. Then she'll be even more in our good grace. We'll be in her good graces. We'll have the defense, and we could send her out to help keep this area, Discordia, free. So you're saying we'll restore the math principle, we'll probably having she'll deactivate, but we'll reactivate her. Well, yeah, you got to connect with what's deepest in the fire, the real fire within her heart, her steam heart, not just the coal. You know what I'm saying? You really have to do a performance that's so legendary that you find the spark within her. Like, the all spark. Well, that's, yeah, sure. And then we'll be fine. Then we'll have the town. We'll be able to leave the town. All right, I'll get to it. You get to it, I'll get to it. Right, okay, go. Why don't you go get changed? Hey, Ada here. So then Isosceles put a kind of a performance, another performance in the round for Steam Gal. And she watched with her childlike incandescent eyes, and Dr. Triangle helped Isosceles, all of the people of the town. They already had a soft spot for her, I guess, because of their connection in their past lives to steam and to steam engines. And that she may have truly been the first steam-based being ever to become to sentience on Earth is an exciting thing. But then to know that as quickly as she came, that once she built up her full steam, she would probably mess with the town. And what they didn't quite realize is that worked out is that the play was going really well. The Steam Gal seemed to be interested in a life of a steam-based community and refurbishment and regular maintenance and all that. The way it worked, though, was that as she built up steam, she still rose up to her full height and started blasting steam, communicated. Luckily, I don't have to do any of this, but, a lot of it was like those steam whistle type sounds, which are like can really get on your nerves. And when she did that, they thought at the edge of way out there that the town had restored the steam. And so the Discordians started going out and trying to traverse the desert without the proper calculations of what they would need to traverse it. And so they kind of got stuck halfway. And then, after they were stuck kind of halfway, like they moved too early, Dr. Triangle and Isosceles took their, okay, well, you're right, I could just go to that because they're about to do it. Sasha, we call on you. I was wrong on the last one, Sasha, but wrong in the right way. And then I guess we were even wrong again because Steam Gale still seems to be building up a little bit more steam, but she built up enough steam to slow Discordian's forces down significantly. But we call on you as we hold these charms to restore math to our world, one principle at a time. The principle we call upon here, missing from our world, is the ability to deal with quartiles, minimums, mediums, the first and third quartiles. So we call on you right now to restore the principle and the usage of whisker plots to our world. Sashat, in your wisdom, please do so. Okay, there goes Steam Girl. Okay, everybody get to work on Steam Girl. Steam Girl, Steam Gal, I'm sorry. I should just read the name of the train. Steam Gal, if you could hear me. I know I could see something deeper than steam in your incandescent eyes, and you watched that whole play I did. And I'll tell you a story about a steam heroine who was, oh, wow, her eyes, you guys are already, because you're able to read the, I didn't realize you had those paper guides to how much steam, you just couldn't read those before. To make sure it's within the variances. Because you got to make sure you don't add the fuel or this water you got to avoid the minimum and the maximum. So that's what a whisker plot does? These are gauges which work in a similar way. Interesting. So you're already Hi, Steam Gal. It's me, Isosceles. You went for a little sleepy poo, but it was just a second, and we're getting the steam back to the town. And we are going to have to, once you're at full steam again, Steam Gal, we're going to have to ask you to go out to the edge of the town because the Discordia, of course, has a backup, backup force waiting to come here and help us take care of your home. That's right, a home. You're right. Just this is your home, Steam Gal. Oh, you want to put me on your shoulder and do that? Well, I don't know if I prefer going out to the... Oh, wow, those steam trebuchets really do work. Okay, well, so we'll go out there and what are you going to do? Like kick around some of the forces of Discordia? Okay, I'll see you later, Isosceles. Okay, everybody, let's get everything ready and we'll keep this oasis away from Discordia. Hey, so it's Ada here. So the action parts aren't as really that important. What you need to know is Steam Gal and the people of the Oasis and use the power of steam to send Discordia's forces away. Of course, once they saw Steam Girl, almost no one was interested in trying to get across a barren desert anyway. And those few people that did saw the trebuchets and the high pressure water and all that steam. Warm steam's not pleasant either. And they said, "No, thank you, Discordia. This isn't winnable." And so the town being kind of was safe for a time. Dr. Triangle and Isosceles worked with the people, said they would come visit. Had a heartfelt goodbye to Steam Gal. Wished they could take her with them. And then they had a heartfelt goodbye to the town. And they got their own small train. And they headed down a tunnel below the desert with me on the back, Ada, your favorite mule and narrator. And the tunnel was so long because we decided to stop because it's, you just got to stop when you're tired because we can't tell if it's night or day. But here we are in a cool tunnel. There's steam pipes running down our sides, a cool water pipe, was fresh water pipe. And yeah, we're going to get some sleep here. And I'll talk to you soon. Good night. All right, I want to thank everybody that supported the podcast recently on Patreon. I want to thank Lindsay, Lucy, and Henry. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Liv, David, and Sean. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Abigail, Chris, and Michelle. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jessica, Barbara, and Gia. Thanks, and good night. Tegan, Rebecca, and Tiny Kittens. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Clinton, Ange, and Kevin, thank you, thanks, and good night. Stephanie, Amy, and Rochelle, thank you, thanks, and good night. Brian, Elissa, and Gregory, thank you, thanks, and good night. Kenneth, Ruth, and Deborah, thank you, thanks, and good night. Rebecca, KGS, and Tori, thank you, thanks, and good night. Stephen, Bo, and Terry, thank you, thanks, and good night. Kevin, David, and Gareth, thank you, thanks, and good night. Casey, Mandy, and Nadia, thank you, thanks, and good night. And Zenor, Beth, and Paul, thank you, thanks, and good night. So thank you, everybody who supports the podcast. Sleep With Me exists as a free podcast because the people who support it on Patreon and the people who support the sponsors. We grow as a podcast because the people who spread the word about the show and just let people know about their honest experience with the podcast. We're a member of Night Vale Presents. You can check out all the amazing shows over at nightvalepresents.com, including one of my favorites, and a new adventure is coming from them in the fall 2019. So by the time you hear this, it'll be out in the world. And that's the Orbiting Human Circus. You can find it in your podcast app of choice at nightvalepresents.com or orbitinghumancircus.com. Believe me, you are definitely going to definitely do yourself a favor. Check it out. Orbiting Human Circus. Season 2 will be here in the fall of 2019. So whenever you're hearing this, it should be out. And we're so check that out. We're also a member of PRX. You can see all the amazing work they do at prx.org. And that's it. But there's plenty of other episodes ready to go if you need them. Just go ahead. Here, let me, do you want me to tuck your feet in or get the blankets? Okay, you got it. Good night.